Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing today? Today is August the 12th, Thursday, August the 12th, 2021. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to talk about um, it is good. I'm going to title this video, It is Good for a Woman to Be Alone. If people see the title, they're going to be like, what's she talking about? It's good for a woman to be alone. I'm going to explain to you what I'm talking about. When I say it's good for a woman to be alone, it is good for a woman to be alone for a time. For a time. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when women jump into relationships too fast, they get into the mindset that they need a man to be happy. And I'm actually going to do another video talking about that. They get the mindset that they need a man to be happy. They get in the mindset that they need a man to feel whole. They get in the mindset of where they need a man to validate them. And what happens is when women get into that mindset, it puts them in the position to where they're not making right choices as far as a mate. They're not making the right choices as far as a man. And that's kind of dangerous. It's, in a sense, it's dangerous thinking. When you feel like you need a man to be happy, you just have to have a man in your life to be happy. That's a problem. A lot of women don't see that as problematic, but it's a problem. When you feel like you need a man to give you some type of validation, it's not healthy. Or you need a man to make you feel whole. You're supposed to already be whole before you get into a relationship. There's this young lady on here. I don't know what her name is. I'm not sure what her name is, but her video is kind of circulating on YouTube. I'm not trying to gossip, but the reason why I'm going to talk about her is because I got to make a point. She went out of town on business. She's married, and she went out of town on business. And she came home and recorded. She did recorded the apartment her husband had left, and took everything, took his stuff and some of her stuff, and kind of cleaned her out. Gave her no kind of indication that he was going to leave. She went out of town on business. Make a long story short, she went out of town on business, came home. Her husband was gone. He had took his stuff and some of her stuff too. And she was not aware before she left that he was going to do that. He didn't give her a heads up. She did a video where she was kind of crying, and it was some key things that she said in that video that kind of put something on my mind. She was saying that she was sexually abused. I think she said, they blotted the word out, but I'm assuming that's what it meant. That she was sexually abused, and she said she grew up without a father. So she was talking about how she had daddy issues, and that she had these things going on. That from what I'm gathering from the video, in so many words, she was saying that she wasn't healed from these things. She wasn't healed from these things before she entered into her marriage. That's allegedly, that's what I'm gathering from what she was saying in the video. And that's the case for a lot of women. That is the case for a lot of women. So I got to really thinking about it, and I thought that it was important. I said, I'm going to go ahead and do a video and touch base on that, because a lot of women are in that situation. A lot of women enter into relationships, or they jump from one relationship to the next, and they are not healed. They're not healed from childhood trauma, being sexually abused. They're not healed from, growing up without a father. Um, when a woman, I grew up without a father myself, and just judging on my experiences, when looking at some of my past relationships, in retrospect, I can see some of the choices that I made probably had a lot to do with the fact that I didn't have a father in the home. Because a father, what a father does for a daughter is that he teaches his daughter, her worth. A father teaches his daughter, her worth, and he shows her through his example how a woman should be treated. By respecting her mother, um, how he treats her mother, and so he shows her by example of how he treats her mother. He also teaches her that she uh, her worth, and basically lifts up her self-esteem, educates her on what types of men she should be looking for or what she shouldn't be looking for in a man, and just taking a vested interest. A father shows a daughter uh, love. He showers her with love. He is very, very present in her life, and that has a lot to do with how, when she grows up, her mindset and the choices that she makes in a mate. And what happens is when a woman grows up without that father or father figure to teach her worth and her value, show her by example how a man's supposed to be. She doesn't know what to look for in a man. She doesn't know, she never seen that example. So particularly if she grew up and she's seen her mother being mistreated, if it's really, really, really toxic and detrimental. If she's seen her mother being mistreated, it sets the stage for her to make some the really bad choices. And unless a woman draws a close relationship with God, and she gets intense therapy, spend some time by herself, get some intense therapy, draw a close relationship with God. Because even if we draw a close relationship with God, and how we do that is reading and studying the Bible, and the Bible also educates women on our worth and all these things like that. So that's very instrumental as well. Also, getting intense therapy if you've had childhood trauma such as sexual abuse or anything like that. Women have to address these issues before they enter into a relationship. And what happens is when these issues are not resolved and the woman is still damaged and she's not healed, she'll put herself in a position to make the wrong choices in a mate. She will make the wrong choices in a mate. She'll get a mate that is abusive or uh, cheater or whatever the situation is, and a lot of times she'll put up with those things because she doesn't know her worth. And so it's very, very detrimental. I mean, I've been through that myself because, like I said, I grew up without a dad. And what happens is when women jump from one relationship to the next, then she's got a bad relationship, and that relationship's come to an end. She gets into another relationship, and she bounces from one relationship to the next. She's not giving herself the opportunity to heal. And it's very bad, particularly if that woman gets married. If that woman gets married, she gets in a marriage situation, and she has chosen the wrong mate because of these childhood traumas and growing up without a father and not having that positive father figure. And she'll put herself in a position to where she's in a toxic marriage, or she hasn't chosen the right marriage mate. She enters into the marriage still bitter, or bitter, damaged, emotionally damaged, um, and she didn't give herself that opportunity to get healed from those things. So sometimes it's a situation to where the woman is self-sabotaging. She's self-sabotaging. So I think it's very, very important for a woman to be alone for a time. Um, I've been single for many, many, many years. I've been single for many, many, many years. And I was just like any other woman. I wanted to get married so bad. I wanted to get married in my 20s. I wanted to get married in my 30s. It didn't happen. I wanted to get married in my 40s. It didn't happen. And, I probably wasn't ready to get married earlier in my life because at once upon a time, I was just like a lot of these other women out here. I didn't know my worth. I didn't have a father figure to teach me my worth, and I didn't have that father's love, and I was just like a lot of other women out here at one time. Before I dedicated my life to God, I didn't know my worth. I didn't know my worth. And I was getting in bad relationships, getting in bad situations with men, putting myself in a position to be used, you know. And then when I decided to dedicate my life to God, I made the decision to abstain because that's all a part of it. Um, and when I did that, that was the best thing that I could have ever done in my life. It is the single best decision that I ever made in my life. Through studying and reading the Bible, drawing a closer relationship with Jehovah God, I learned my worth. I learned my worth as a woman. I learned what I deserve, you know. Um, and once you learn your worth as a woman, it is worth its weight in gold. I'm telling you, I never want to go back to that state of mind that I was in before. I never want to go back to that mindset. And that's in that all this time that I've been single is giving me the opportunity to heal from, you know, past relationships that didn't work out and things like that. But a lot of healing needed to take place. My youngest son's dad, you know, wasn't, he pretty much abandoned me. When a man gets a woman pregnant and he walks away, it's abandonment. He pretty much had abandoned me, and I didn't expect him to be in a relationship with me, but I did expect him to be a father to his son. He chose not to be. And it caused me a lot of pain. Make a long story short, it was a very, very painful situation for me to have to deal with, you know, going through the pregnancy by myself without his support, raising my son all those years by myself, without his assistance, and knowing, that my son needed his father. And it wasn't about me. It was never about me, but anytime a man walks away from his child, it's abandonment. And that was very, very painful for me, and then some of my other relationships, that I was dealing with caused me a great deal of pain. So that time was needed. That time for me to be by myself was needed because a lot of healing needed to take place. There was a lot of healing that needed to take place. I'm running out of time. And so that's what women need to do. Women need to take time to heal. Women need to be alone for a time so they can give themselves the opportunity to heal. You have to heal. Sometimes you need intense therapy. So you need to draw a close relationship with God. And if you don't take that time to heal, you will go from one toxic situation to another. You will get into these relationships and self-sabotage. It is never not a good idea for a woman to jump from one relationship to the next. A man either. A woman, it's good for a woman to be alone for a time to let that healing process take, because all this time that I've been by myself and single, I've been able to heal. A lot of healing has taken place. I was able to draw a close relationship with God, dedicate my life to God, draw a closer relationship with Him. Abstaining is important, because when you don't abstain, you develop them soul ties. I'm gonna do a little bit more research into that, and I'm gonna get back and talk about that. You start developing them soul ties, so you need to do away with all that, abstain and all that. I'm running out of time. Might talk about this some more. Hit that like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell. Until the next video, peace and love. This is Sweet June.